Your brain is sabotaging your dreams, and it's doing it with your permission. If you're ambitious but stuck in neutral, this isn't a motivation problem. It's a psychological trap. Let's break it down. There is a strange and painful paradox that a lot of smart, driven people live with and almost never talk about. It is the experience of wanting success so badly that it physically hurts, yet somehow doing nothing about it. You have the vision, you see the future, you can practically taste the success, and yet you cannot get yourself to start, let alone finish. It is like being a Ferrari with no gas, or worse, being stuck in a garage with the engine on and no wheels. Here's the twist. This is not a rare glitch in the matrix. It is insanely common, especially among high-potential individuals. The more capable you are, the more overwhelmed you might feel by the pressure to get it right. So you stall, you wait, you rationalize, and somewhere deep in the back of your mind, you start whispering a toxic thought. Maybe I am just lazy. But you are not lazy. You are caught in a mental trap. And here is the main idea you have got to tattoo onto your frontal lobe. Desire is not the same as drive. Ambition is the dream. Drive is the system. One lives in your imagination. The other lives in your behavior. If you are ambitious but not acting, the problem is not your potential. It is the software running your brain. Your brain is running motivational Windows 95 in an iPhone 15 world. It is trying to survive saber-toothed tigers while you are trying to build a startup. Evolutionary psychology reminds us that our brains are not built for success. They are built for safety. For tens of thousands of years, avoiding failure literally meant staying alive. Making a mistake could get you kicked out of the tribe. And back then, that was a death sentence. So guess what your brain still does today? It interprets risk as danger. It feels like posting that project online could actually kill you. Rationally, you know it will not. But evolution does not care about your LinkedIn. Here is the kicker. In the modern world, most failure is not fatal. It is just embarrassing. You get judged. You feel uncomfortable. That is it. But your brain is still acting like every rejection is a lion about to chew your face off. So instead of launching forward, you freeze. You scroll. You wait for a signal that it is safe. But in 2025, safety is just another name for stagnation. Imagine living with a roommate who constantly tells you that you suck. You wake up and they are already complaining. Oh, you are going to try that again? Cute. Every time you get a new idea, they are like, that has already been done, and better. Worst part? This roommate wears your face. Congratulations, that is your inner critic. Psychologists have a name for this internal harassment: negative self-talk. Combine that with learned helplessness, the belief that nothing you do really makes a difference, and you have got a recipe for self-sabotage. People who have all the tools to win still end up quitting early, or never starting at all, because they believe the voice in their head more than the evidence in real life. And here is the comedic tragedy of it all. Your brain's idea of a pep talk is just a roast battle with no punchlines. No wonder you feel stuck. You are trying to move forward with a GPS that keeps rerouting you back to your comfort zone. The problem is not that you do not believe in success. It is that you believe your doubts are smarter than your dreams. Here is a truth bomb for you. Motivation does not come before action. Most people think they need to feel inspired or pumped up first, and then they will finally get started. But science tells us something very different. Motivation is not the fire starter. It is the heat generated from friction. In other words, motivation is the byproduct of action, not its cause. Think of motivation like the heat you feel when you rub your hands together on a cold day. You do not start with warm hands and then rub them. You rub your hands first, creating heat through movement. The same happens in your brain. When you take even a small step toward your goal, your brain releases chemicals that make you feel good and encourage you to keep going. Psychologists call this the action-motivation feedback loop. Research clearly shows that people who act first, even imperfectly, soon find motivation growing naturally. Waiting around for motivation to strike is like waiting for a bus that never shows up. Now, let us talk about your brain's favorite drug dealer, dopamine. This chemical controls your reward system, making you feel pleasure when you achieve something. But there is a catch. Modern life, especially social media and instant gratification, is hijacking your dopamine supply and stealing your ambition's fuel. Imagine trying to build muscle while eating candy all day. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, chasing likes and notifications on your phone is exactly like eating candy when you are trying to bulk up. You get quick, cheap hits of dopamine, but no real progress. Your brain gets used to these mini rewards, leading to what scientists call reward prediction errors and dopamine tolerance. This means you need more and more stimulation to feel the same rush, but the deep, meaningful motivation for big goals gets buried under all the noise. Perfectionism sounds like a fancy word for having high standards, but let us be real. It is fear dressed up in a tuxedo. It is the fear of looking stupid, failing, or simply not being good enough. The problem with perfectionism is that it paralyzes you. You keep waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect idea, or the perfect version of yourself to finally start. Spoiler alert, that moment will never come. Studies have found a strong link between perfectionism, procrastination, and burnout. Perfectionists often get trapped in endless loops of planning and self-doubt, and as a result, they rarely finish anything. And here is a little truth wrapped in humor for you. You will not finish your masterpiece because you are afraid it might suck. Newsflash. It probably will suck at first, but that is exactly how masterpieces start. Here is a new concept that trips up so many ambitious people: identity lag. This means you have changed your goals, your dreams, and your vision for the future, but your brain's self-concept is still stuck in the past. It is like you decided to switch careers from accountant to rock star, but every morning you still show up at your old office desk, punch the time clock, and wait for instructions. Psychologists have studied self-identity and behavior patterns extensively. The truth is, your habits, routines, and even your self-talk are deeply tied to how you see yourself, your identity. If your brain believes you are not a doer or not someone who finishes things, it will keep producing the same results. Until your mind catches up to the new you, your actions will lag behind your ambitions. It is frustrating, but completely normal. Now, how do you fix this lag? The answer is deceptively simple: small wins. Science has shown that shrinking your tasks into tiny, manageable micro-habits can bypass the mental resistance that usually kills motivation. Behavioral scientist BJ Fogg puts it perfectly: just floss one tooth. Imagine how easy that sounds. The goal is not to floss your entire mouth, but to build the habit by starting ridiculously small. Author James Clear, famous for his work on habits, echoes this idea with clarity and humor. He says, "Your job is not to win the war all at once. Just load the cannon. Every small action you take is like adding one cannonball to your arsenal. Soon enough, you have built unstoppable momentum. Those tiny victories snowball into real progress, and before you know it, your identity starts to align with your ambition." Here is a secret weapon for your brain: gamification. Your brain loves games. It craves points, levels, feedback, and consequences. If you do not give it a game to play, your brain will invent a much worse one for you. That game is called self-doubt, procrastination, or anxiety. And trust me, those games are exhausting. Behavioral psychology teaches us that incentives and feedback loops are the keys to sustained motivation. So turn your tasks into a game. Award yourself points for small achievements. Create levels to conquer, and celebrate your progress. Suddenly, what felt like grinding through a boring chore becomes a challenge your brain actually wants to play. The dopamine you get from winning at your own game is the real motivation booster you have been waiting for. Finally, the most powerful tool you have is the story you tell yourself. Treat your life like a story where you are the hero in training, not the failure stuck in a loop. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? Instead of, why am I failing? This mindset shift is called narrative hacking. It rewires your brain to focus on growth and possibility. Remember this: if you are stuck, it does not mean you are broken. It means you are in chapter 1 of your story. Every epic tale has its trials, setbacks, and moments of doubt, but those moments are just the setup for the triumph to come. You are not failing, you are training. And every day you show up, you write a new line in the script of your transformation. You don't need more ambition. You need better strategy. Now that you know the traps, it's time to walk around them. Hit subscribe if your brain just got exposed, and maybe for once take action.